Hi, I'm Ashley and I love horses. I'm a lifelong horse owner and spent over 10 years working professionally in the horse industry. Now, one of those jobs was working for a veterinary hospital. So I was a care attendant and sort of co-barn manager for one of the large animal veterinary hospitals in my region. My job there was taking care of any animals that were in the clinic. That would be mostly horses, but quite a few beef cattle, dairy cattle, sometimes sheep and goats, and then the odd llama and alpaca, and even a couple pigs from time to time. I would help the veterinarians with like just when they needed extra hands, holding horses, um, just passing them things, lots of cleaning up, making sure everything was sanitary because it was a hospital, and just like stepping in basically wherever anything was needed. What I want to talk about today is getting ready for your horse's veterinary appointments. I do an annual appointment with all of my horses and we call it a herd health. And a lot of livestock people will do that, whether they have, you know, horses or dairy cows or beef cattle or whatever. A herd health is like a designated appointment where you get a veterinarian, usually to come out to your place, and then you just sort of take care of all the things that might need to be done, like a wellness check or sort of like an annual physical. Around here where I live in Western Canada, the busiest season for herd health appointments for horses is probably that like April to the first half of May, maybe getting towards the end of May. For me, I'm not taking my horses anywhere. I am not going to be showing this summer. I probably won't go to a clinic. They're just going to be staying here. So there's no reason to like try to get in quickly when everybody else is getting in. When I phoned to make the appointment, I just said, whenever, like fit me in somewhere that's convenient for you guys. So we do have our appointment right at the beginning of next week. So today I want to share some of my tips and things that I do to get ready for our annual vet visit. And maybe you'll find something that is helpful to you, or if you're new to keeping your own horses on your own place, this something there might be helpful. Since I had a chance to work with so many vets and to see what they like and what works well, I feel like I have a pretty good idea of the things that sort of were common threads through what most of the vets preferred and what worked well. And all those things definitely influenced how I set up for my herd health. Disclaimer, just in case you didn't pick it up, I'm not actually a veterinarian. I have a Bachelor of Science in Agriculture with a major in animal science, but I am not a veterinarian. I don't have a DVM. I'm not a registered veterinary technician. All I'm telling you is some best practices that I use, and I think 100,000%, if you are unsure, you should have a conversation with your own veterinarian who knows you and knows your horses. It's so important to build some type of relationship with a veterinarian close to you because just there's so many things that go into taking care of horses, and that's not even to mention emergencies coming up, right? Now, when you decide you want to plan a herd health appointment with a veterinarian, the first thing you need to do is to get yourself organized and figure out what you need. Things you might want to do could include teeth floats, deworming, vaccination, Coggins testing, sheath cleaning, any kind of prescription renewal checks, and just anything that has kind of been going on with your horse that maybe wasn't an emergency enough that you had called before. That could be something like you're noticing that as your horse is getting older, he's not quite moving in the same way, and maybe you're curious about hock injections or something like that. They're not emergency. They should probably be seen if they don't go away. Those are things to note. So what I'm doing this year, we're doing 2 teeth floats. My veterinarian advised me that it's not necessary to do a complete teeth float on all of my horses every year. We could do a teeth check. So I generally rotate them off. So I'll do 2 one year, 2 the next year, and then rotate. Unless I have a concern. But I trust, again, my vets are equine specialists. 2 of them are certified equine dentists. So if they say my horse doesn't need a teeth float every single year, I'm going to take their advice. My 3 geldings are all getting a sheath clean. Again, some people like to do that themselves. Go for it if you have a nice quiet horse. Mine, I just like the vets to do it. I like a little bit of sedation on board just to kind of make sure everybody's safe and it goes well and that it's thorough and everything. So we're going to do that. All four are getting vaccinated. The vaccines that I choose are based on what me and my vet think are the best for my horses, our situation, our location, because what viruses your horses are exposed to can really depend on your location, and then how many other horses they're in contact with. So mine are not really in contact with other horses. Generally, like maybe I would go to a lesson or like I'm always got an eye out for a clinic, but I'm 90% sure I'm not going anywhere with them this summer. Do you know what the economy is like right now? Who can afford to do that? So all four are getting vaccinated. And then the last part is that Rascal has a prescription, and he, like many older horses, has a chronic condition that we are dealing with. So I need his prescription refilled. To get a prescription or to get refills on a prescription, the vet has to have seen your horse sometime in the last 12 months. So he needs to be seen and looked at and just evaluated for how he's doing, how the medication is still working, see what the vet says about that. And then I also asked them to bring me some more bute. Now, I keep all of my horse records on an Excel spreadsheet, and then I also have a binder with any papers that I need to keep. This way I can look back through all the years of what I did each year, especially if I'm rotating horses or anything like that, or I want to remember what was the vaccine I did last year. It's all there in the spreadsheet. I also put all my farrier appointments and like any contact information that I need and anything health-wise that comes up with the horses. I just pop it into the spreadsheet so it's all in one place. Then when I come to kind of spring and I'm like, oh, we should probably book the herd health soon, I can just go to the spreadsheet and look at it. So some kind of record keeping system for your horses and any of your pets really is really important when you are wanting to just keep yourself organized. And then my clinic, what they do is they will email you a herd health form where you put in your horse's name, everything that you want done, and then they have that organized and you have a chance ahead of time to say everything you want in there. That's where it was important for me to have my little list ready so that I could put everything in there and then it gets sent off back to them. That way too, they make sure they're bringing all the stuff they need. And if you are wanting something like joint injections or something, they can schedule more effectively. Now, if you were watching that and you were like, I have no idea where to start, I don't write anything down, or I'm new to this whole horse herd health thing, don't be afraid to ask your vet, right? Like you can call the clinic and just ask. You want to be respectful of your veterinarian's time, but if you don't know, especially if you are booking the herd health exam, your client, you can just ask. You can just be upfront and say, I'm not really sure. What do you think? And, if they're decent veterinarians, they should be happy to help you. You won't be the first one to phone and have no clue what you're doing. That's fine. Now, also a small tip when you are phoning, make sure you are clear whether you want them to come to you or whether you will be going to them. There are a lot of field service veterinarians who just work out of their truck and they do come around and they will come to you. But I know not everywhere in the world, but even North America, Canada, has veterinarians that will come out to them if you're in quite a remote location. So in that case, you may need to be able to trailer them into the clinic, or you can find like a boarding stable or something that might let you use their facility just for that day. If after you make the vet appointment, you realize that you forgot something or something changes, like all of a sudden your horse is turned up lame, or your friend asked if they can, jump into your vet appointment, always just phone and ask. There is potential that your veterinarian may be able to accommodate you with this, but please don't surprise them. If they show up and there's all of a sudden all this surprise extra work that you have for them to do, they are not going to be happy and they may not be able to do it all for you because they might have to go somewhere else. And the whole kind of underlying message of this video is that if you can do things that help your veterinarian to be happy, then it's just going to be a much better experience for all of you. Not that they should ever not help a client, right? but it's just like, many of us in the horse world, you keep your farrier happy, you keep your vet happy, you keep your coach happy, you keep your trainer happy. Everybody wants to work together and enjoy and have more fun. The horse industry has, you know, an unfortunate reputation of having a lot of crazy horse people and toxicity and like verbal abuse and all those things. And I experienced that on the employee side in a lot of my jobs, unfortunately. So the more we can do to just help each other out and make each other's lives easier, especially those people who are providing a service for you, then that's just better for all of us in the whole industry and we have a better time. If you are a little bit worried about the budget, when you call to make the appointment, or even later, just sometime before the appointment actually happens, you can call and ask for a quote. You can ask for the pricing of things. You can do the math and make sure that you have some way to pay your bill, whether that's based on your credit card or a little bit of money saved up in your account. Just you don't want to be the one who doesn't pay their bills, right? And in many veterinary hospitals and clinics, if you don't pay your bills long enough, they won't provide you service anymore. They have to pay their employees, they have to pay for the cost of materials, like they're running a business too. So you want to be on time with your bills as much as possible. And the more you can prepare ahead of time for something routine like a herd health, the easier it's going to be and the better for everybody. You don't need that extra weight on your mind when you're already thinking about your horse's health and well being. Now, if you are in some kind of boarding situation, trainer situation, where either you have a client or you are the client, just before the vet appointment, make sure that you are just clear with each other about what you're wanting. I know when I worked at boarding stables, sometimes people weren't able to take off of work or be there when the veterinarian was coming. So they would just trust that either the barn manager or trainer or whoever was like their person running the facility would manage the whole appointment for them. There just needs to be a good understanding of how much power the designated person has. If you're the client, is your trainer allowed to authorize extra charges, any extra procedures that may cost more money? Do they need to call you before they authorize that? Maybe you're choosing a different vaccine than somebody else or something else, and you want to make sure that they know that so they get the right one, right? Just a lot of communication about what exactly you want and then how you can be reached if any questions come up. And same as vice versa, if you're the trainer or the barn manager who's taking care of this horse, find out what are you allowed to authorize, what does the client want, and how do you contact the client if there are things that come up that they need to answer questions. Now, you want to think next about your facility. So you need somewhere that's safe and secure that you and your vet can take whichever horse is being looked at and examined and have them separated from where the other horses can touch them. Whenever there's somebody like a vet around, sometimes the other horses can get very interested in what's going on. And especially if there's a few of them, then you know how horses are. They're bothering each other or biting or chewing on each other. And you just want to have like a fully clean, safe workspace where you can focus on the horse that you're dealing with and not worry about everybody else. So I'm really lucky that I have a barn with stalls and it's nothing fancy. You can see it's not that pretty, but it's very functional. It works, it has electricity, and it's a shelter from the elements. I can separate each horse into their own stall and have them, where they know the other horses aren't going to bother them. And it works well. It's worked well for us for years at this point. Now, if you are going to be doing something like a teeth float or an exam where they need to be sedated, once they've been sedated, they can't eat food. They have to wait till the sedation wears off before they can have food again. So you need to be able to, as much as possible, have them somewhere where they can't eat. So for my stalls, I have buckets like this. And so I may give them a snack when they come in, but then I'll take the bucket out if they have sedation just to make sure they're not eating anything. And I don't have any bedding in the stalls right now because I use straw. So I don't want them to be eating the straw. And if I do have them sedated, I will definitely make sure to clean out any extra little pieces of straw or anything like that. Now, a lot of people don't have barns, and that's okay. I've seen the vets work with all kinds of facilities, but if you can, if you do have some sort of small pen or outdoor tie stall or like a sheltered area where you can sort of just like separate the one horse from the others. Not that they can't see them or like that they're stressing out that way, just where the other horses can't touch them. That's what is going to be ideal. Again, if you're not really sure about your facility, when you phone the vet clinic, just ask. There's some pretty redneck vets out there who can probably make a lot of things work. So just ask about what you need. I have gone with vets where we had the horse in the people's garage. I have had where they like erected a temporary stall situation, like using kind of panels like this. Like if you use your creativity, you can probably make something work. But if you are going to kind of creative something, do a test run or two ahead of time. If you're taking your horse into your garage and they've never been in there before, that's not a great idea. If you regularly, expose them to a new little area or something, that's going to make your appointment go a lot smoother because they've already been there, and they are used to the space and they're not like snorting, worried, dancing around and freaking out. I mean, the sedation is helpful, but let's just make everybody's lives easier and actually prepare your horse for this experience. And in an emergency situation, you don't have the chance to do all of that prep. So this is a chance to expose them to something different and have a site that you can use for your herd health and if an emergency comes up. Now, if outside is all you have and you are worried about them eating food, try to do a dry lot. If you have somewhere with dirt or something like that, that would be okay. If all you have is grass, ask your vet, what are they comfortable with? They can make the decision or advise you the best way to go forward. And then the more things you can think of to be prepared ahead of time, the smoother it's going to be. Like I said, I have power, but it's in the wall and I don't have a lot of extension cords. The vets do generally bring their own, so it works. But that is something that I can prepare ahead of time. My barn also can get quite dark, so I have some additional lights that I have set up in the past for either the vets or the farrier. So I would want to have those ready before they got there. And then day of, if you do have sort of a stall set up, it's great to have the horses in and settled before the vets come. I have had it where the vets showed up early and I wasn't ready and the horses were still outside. And that just adds that extra sort of chaotic feel and it can make you feel a bit flustered. And yeah, it only took me 2 or 3 minutes to get them in and settled, but it wasn't as smooth as I would have liked it. And it doesn't give the horses as much time to settle in. If you are at a barn where there is certain times of feeding, like you're at a boarding stable or whatever, they get hay at certain times. If you can avoid having your horse hungry at the vet appointment, that is going to help a lot. Sometimes at the vet clinic, we had to pull the teaching horses in for stuff, and sometimes they made us do it right before feeding, and those horses know when they are supposed to be fed and they are so cranky. It's just like us when we don't get our breakfast or our lunch, then it just makes life more difficult for everybody. So if you can get their feeding done a little bit in advance or something like that, then that's going to just make it a lot more pleasant. Horses are hungry 24/7 anyway, but if you can decrease the amount of hunger that they have to feel, that is going to make them just a lot more relaxed. The only time maybe you wouldn't do that is if you had some kind of concern about how they eat, something where or the vet told you that they have to be fasted. Sometimes there's some sort of procedure where they have to be fasted, but for herd health like we're going to do, generally not. If you're not sure, just ask. I want to talk about some ways you can get your horse ready for the vet. So things you can practice before the vet comes, just so that it's a less stressful experience for the horse and you and for your vet. Now, this is what I mean. They were in the pasture and I just grabbed Jetty to come over here by the camera, and everybody else thought that was very exciting and that they needed to come too. So Moji's over there and Rascal's there, but on actual herd health day, we will be in the barn so that they will have full barriers between them and not able to bother each other like this. He's a little brother. Now, any horse, any age, you would like them to be halter broke for the vet. So I know some people really like leaving their yearlings or their foals untouched, but you are going to make your vet and farrier's life 1,000 times easier if you can at least get a halter on them and that they're sort of responsive to the halter. You want a halter for each horse if possible, because often For herd health, the vets will bring a technician with them or a student or something, so they may work on more than one horse at once. So getting enough halters for each horse, if possible, and lead ropes as well. And having that all ready to go is going to be great. Now you want to also practice with your horse and try to get them comfortable with every part of their body being touched. So they're going to be a little bit poked and prodded. It's just part of a checkup, so that they are okay with their eyes being touched and their ears here and there. Jesus just wants to go back to eating. Their mouth, right? So no matter what, and then even under their bellies and everything like that. The other thing that they might have to just practice a couple of times is to be touched and then have that place like continue being touched. So sometimes when the vet is holding the stethoscope on a horse, not at their neck, be at their heart or their lungs, the horse will move sideways because they're moving away from the pressure. So just practicing that with your horse, that it's okay to just stand and they don't have to move away from it, then that is also going to make it a lot easier for the vets to get the basic like TPR, all the basic vital signs on your horse too. And then being able to lift all 4 feet is going to be helpful too. So practicing that, these are all things that your horse can learn if you start practicing ahead of time early enough. And it's going to be it's all good skills for them to have for their whole life. If you're watching this channel and you have a horse, you're probably an adult amateur. So you have time to train your horse to do these things, right? And even more. Yes, yes. Good job. Now I'm going to hang out with Free Time because he's the least dramatic of my horses. Now, a couple last items. You want to make sure that your vet can find your place. So give them good directions. And if you're not sure if your directions were good, try driving towards your place and see if you can follow your own directions. So if the person doesn't know that there's 3 green barns and all you say is green barn, they're not going to know which one. So how do you differentiate, right? Do you have a number on your place? What is hard is when people say like the 5th driveway. Going by driveways, I found to be one of the hardest things because it's like, is that a driveway? Is that a gravel road? Is it just an approach into a field? Try to be as clear as possible. Now, a lot of people will drop a pin, and if you can do that, if you've got internet and phone access and everything, dropping a pin is awesome too. A suggestion I would make is that vet day and herd health day is probably not the day to have visitors. It's not the day that auntie, uncle, grandma, cousins, everybody comes out to the barn. Your horses are going to be stressed enough with the vet and the commotion that could come with that and being poked and prodded. So it's just not the day for more people and more things that they're not used to. As I'm finishing up for the night, I'm going to feed my cats. And that reminds me that if you have any other animals on the site that maybe are not going to be helping the visit be stress-free as much as possible, to make sure that you take care of them. So barn cats usually are no issues. A lot of dogs are very friendly, but if you have guard dogs or sometimes people have like donkeys or pigs or something that like roams around. So if they are going to be an issue, have them under some sort of control. And then again, if possible, it's not the day for like lawn mowing or doing a bunch of like work with a skid steer or something, just things that add extra noise, extra commotion. My herd health is like maybe 2 hours. So I think my family members can hold off making a lot of noise and doing a bunch of stuff while the vet is around. Yes, horses should be exposed to all those things, and it makes them a much more well-rounded, good horse when they are exposed to all those things and calm and comfortable with it. But if there's even a question, why would you make your life more complicated? I have my herd health once a year. I think some of those things can just be mitigated and we can just make it such like a pleasant and easy visit. Finally, once it is vet day and I come to the farm and I'm ready to go and we're just waiting on the vets, I pull all the horses into their stalls, and personally, I like to have them groomed and their hooves picked out. If they're healthy, this is a routine visit. I want them to look nice and presentable. So as long as I have time, I'm going to have all that stuff done. Not that the vets can't pick out the hooves themselves, But if I can make their job just a little bit easier, then that's going to make them happier, which in turn makes me happier. If they wore fly sheets, I would make the decision then if I pull it off once they're in the barn or if I want to leave them on until the vet gets there. I've seen a lot of vets take the heart rate and that type of thing by just putting their hand under a blanket or a fly sheet. So you can, always leave it to their discretion. On that note, if you have some fly spray available and you can have your horses fly sprayed, that also is going to make your life a lot easier. I have held so many horses where they are stamping their feet and the vet's trying to get a needle into the joint or into the very specific one spot, and the flies are bothering the horse and they're just stamping and stamping and stamping. So fly spray isn't going to get rid of all of that, but it can help. Okay, well, I think that is all of my tips, at least all the ones I could think of as I was sort of brainstorming earlier today. I hope something in this video gave you some new information or gave you something to think about. Again, I'm not a vet. I just know a lot of vets and have worked with a lot of vets. And it's just from what I've seen and in my experience, I know that things like veterinary medicine vary widely across the world. So if you are in the States or if you're in Europe, or anywhere else in the world, you might have had quite a different experience. I'd love to hear about that. So share that in the comments if you have something to add or other suggestions that could help people who are navigating this experience. Put that in the comments. If you like videos like this, check out the rest of my channel. I do other vlogs and talk about a lot of horse stuff, both with my horses and my past job experience with horses. And I just like to have fun and talk about horses and do outside things. I hope you have a great weekend. I hope you get a chance to go outside this weekend, and I will see you next time. Bye.